All right, here we go. Well, good morning. And so tell us your name and what do you do?
My name is Kevin Nolan. I'm a corporate partner at the Austin office of DLA Piper.
And explain what you do on a daily basis.
I help investors invest in private vehicles, so private equity, venture capital, and those types of private funds.
So if people wouldn't, if they don't know what venture capital is, how would you explain what that looks like?
Venture capital is when you have certain sponsors that invest in early stage companies. So someone has an idea, but it's such an early idea that they don't have enough where a bank would give them a loan in order to develop that business. A venture capitalist will look at it and see if that's a business that they are willing to take a chance on because they see the potential for growth in that business.
I didn't even know that DLA Piper was here in Austin, honestly.
I know I hear that a lot. So we're trying to make sure that the brand gets a little bit more out there.
Is it because you guys are in Houston? Where are you at here in Texas?
We are in Houston, Dallas,
Mm,
and in Austin.
okay.
But the funny part about it is that Austin is our largest office
What?
out of the three places.
No, because I ventured into venture last year and was looking for an attorney and Carta. I work with Carta with our back office, and so
Oh yeah, the service provider. Yeah,
yeah.
I know of them. Yeah.
And so they have a law firm that they use, and so we've been using that firm. But you hear DLA Piper all the time because you guys are one of the top firms. And I'm like, what? You're here in Austin? And then when I saw, Alvin had showed me your stuff, and I was like, wait, DLA Piper, what? Kevin,
Yeah.
you're
I'm
here?
new, I'm new to this
Okay.
Austin. So I didn't move here till 2019. So yeah, I've heard that people in town aren't as aware of DLA Piper. So I just got here. So I'm trying to see if I can kind of get the word out.
Well, this is one way to do it. So tell us where you're born and raised.
I was born in Jamaica and moved to New York City when I was 8 years old. So grew up in New York City.
What was life like growing up there?
Um, oh, I love New York. It was great. There's a lot of things that were happening. My mom's a nurse. My dad did a lot of different jobs, so he didn't have one career. And I was just trying to be a kid that's trying to fit in, and I was able to do relatively well in school, and that kind of like set me up to be able to accomplish different things.
So did you always want to be a lawyer, or was that one of three options you had?
No, I didn't want to be a lawyer all the way up until like I was graduating from college. I wanted to be an engineer. I thought I was going to be an engineer, and I went to college thinking I was going to do engineering, and I was engineering for 2 years. But I then discovered that I was in a Calc 4 class, and one day I looked up and there were like no numbers on the board. It was all signs and symbols, and it just kind of said like, is this what I want to do? Like, I'm not sure if this is where I want to go because I'm a pretty social person. So it felt like I would be stuck in a room. No offense to any engineers in the audience, that you wouldn't really be dealing with people. So, I ended up changing to criminology, criminal justice as my major. And then after I graduated, I worked as a paralegal at a law firm just to see like what lawyers actually did. Growing up, I didn't know any lawyers. Like there were no lawyers in my church, no lawyers in any part of my life. So for me, lawyers were just people that existed on TV, not real people. So I knew engineers and doctors, but so it was odd that I had never really known any lawyers. So it wasn't anything I aspired to at all growing up. And it just all happened, in college. And after college, I decided to kind of try the legal field to see what that was like.
What do you like most about your job?
The advice portion. So what I do is, investors are looking at different funds, and we will review the fund documents, and generally ends up being a counseling role, which is, we looked at this. Here are some of the risks that are involved with this particular investment, right? We'll have clients investing in something that buys real estate in China and Japan and other places. And you'll say, like, I'll get some counselors from those countries, but here's the overall risk profile of this, and kind of running through it with people and having them kind of see how does that mesh with the investment strategy you have for your portfolio. And if things go wrong, these are the things that might happen first, right? So I'd like the advice kind of counseling portion of it.
Tell us some life lessons you've learned.
Such a big question. um Learn that the squeaky wheel really does get the grease. So, as you go through kind of your career, your career is something that you have to manage. I think when as a junior lawyer, you think that, oh, they'll have programs set up to address these things and I'll just plug and play into them. And as you get bigger, you realize, or I should say bigger, as you kind of grow into your career, you realize that in order to merely kind of push forward the trajectory of where you want to go, you have to raise your hand, you have to be assertive, you have to, if there's something that's not there that you think you need to go and ask it and then repeat again, because everyone has all their different priorities. If you ask once doesn't mean that that's going to actually change anything. You need to be persistent. So I think I've learned that being persistent and trying to achieve things in your career is something that, a lot of junior, professionals need to know that they need to be accountable for and manage their own career, because people, might have the best intentions, but you need to be the force behind kind of the push and the change that you need to make yourself successful.
What advice would you give your younger self?
I would give my younger self the advice to be able to adapt in different rooms. And what that means is not be inauthentic, but means that when you're dealing with certain people, they might need more energy. I'm a naturally laid back person. So for me, I'm thinking like, hey, this is just me. I'm laid back. It's fine. I'll get your work done. You don't really need any more than your work done. But not realizing that for some rooms you need to bring more energy. For some rooms that have a lot of energy, you need to bring the energy down. You need to always kind of be adaptive in that way, because if you want the best out of the situation, you need to be able to adjust so you can get the best outcome out of situation. So I would tell my younger self, like, hey, it's okay if you need to be like the energetic person in the room today, like be that person for the room because that's what it needs. And early in my career, I was like, hey, this is just me, so I'm not changing it for anybody. But didn't realize like it's not about changing, it's about just making sure that the atmosphere that you're in ends up being the most productive.
That's good. How has failure, challenge, or an apparent failure set you up for later success?
It set me up. So I think a failure has set me up because it helps me reevaluate what I've been doing to think that it's enough to accomplish my goal, right? So, when as a at a previous firm, you're trying to make partner and it doesn't look like it's going to work, then it makes you think like, why is it not working, and what have I done to make it not work? So there's all types of other reasons that are happening, right? Implicit bias might be taking place, all types of other aspects of being in a big firm might be working against you, but it shouldn't mean that you don't reevaluate kind of how you are, what things you're putting forward to be able to accomplish your goals. So I would say that failure of not, being on that partner track at a prior firm and getting pushed off it, and what did I do to make sure that I don't repeat that, or make sure that I recognize any kind of signs earlier on in the process so I can make sure I adjust accordingly. So I think the failure helps you kind of reset kind of what you've been doing in the past to be able to accomplish your goal. So, if you don't fail, you'll never really kind of hone in what you're doing to the point that it'll become as sharp as it needs to be. And I think failure helps kind of sharpen your skills around stuff like that.
What purchase of $100 or less has positively impacted your life in the last 6 months or recent memory?
Hmm. It's a good question because I don't really buy much stuff. $100 or less. Can I circle back to that question?
Of
I don't
course,
know.
of course. Well, the next one is if you had a gigantic billboard anywhere in the world and you could get a message out to millions or billions of people, what would that message be and why?
The message would say, "Don't let anyone tell you your dreams are too big." And the reason I would say that is, if you look at the stats, even in the big law legal industry, I think Black equity partners are 1% of that. So if you're doing the numbers, it doesn't really make sense to really shoot for that goal if there's only 1% of people that can actually accomplish it. But people can accomplish it, right? And same thing with Black professionals in all types of different arenas. If you looked at just purely numbers, it wouldn't make sense to go after certain goals and positions, but people do make it. So I would say that's what I would put on the billboard for everyone to see.
What's one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've ever made? And it could be anything. Doesn't have to be monetary.
Mm.
I know you're a lawyer. You're thinking too
Say,
far.
um, I would say one of the most worthwhile investments is investing in kind of in executive coaching, life coaching, and career coaching, and kind of pushing forward with that, and having people kind of review and think through with you kind of different aspects. Because I've been in couples therapy, I've been in life coaching sessions, I've been in executive coaching sessions, and I think all those different types of mediums have been the best investments because I think it helps make me a better person. It also helps make me more reflective on how my actions kind of contribute positively or negatively to different environments. And I think being able to recognize that and being more self-aware, I think it just overall made me a better person kind of going forward. So I think those have been the best investments.
What's a new belief, behavior, or habit that's most improved your life?
Um, I'll say, so two things. So I was not a coffee drinker until like probably around 5 years ago. And now I'm a big latte person. So that's been helpful in kind of keeping my energy up. So I think that's been a big improvement. But secondly, I would say I've learned that I cannot do 5 nights straight of like being up to 1 a.m. And I think I've made the change that there are nights where you need to go to bed at 9, right? Like after I put my daughters down, I go to bed, right? Because I need to catch up because my body just can't handle back when I was coming up and I could just push through a bunch of all-nighters in a row. So I think that's helped my quality of kind of the rest of my other days because I'm not kind of hanging on by a string for those other days as far as trying to push through.
Um, what if over the last few years, what have you become better at saying no to?
I think I've been better at saying no to, you know, extra board activity, different activities where people want you to help join support organizations at a higher level, right? I used to, say, oh, it's a great organization. Yeah, I try to help and I'll be there, but trying to be a little bit more judicious with my time just because, trying to see like what's the best place to use that time because now that my daughters they're 8 and 5, as they get older, they have their different activities. I have my responsibilities at work. My wife and I need to have our own time. So just being conscious of that and being able to say, like, I'm flattered, but I don't know if this is a good fit at this moment. I think been better at trying to guard that time for mostly for my family, just to make sure that I'm there and be able to participate in a meaningful way.
When you feel overwhelmed, unfocused, or have lost your focus, what do you do to get back to center?
I'll talk to my friends. Like we have a group chat with my friends where it's 5 of us. 4 of them I've known since 7th grade, 8th grade. One of them met freshman year in college, but we're all kind of really tight. I will jump on the phone with one of my best friends or a couple of them and just kind of talk about things, what's going on in their life, what's going on in my life, and kind of just trying to like ease that through with people that really know me and have known me for a really long time. So I think that's been the best way to kind of unwind. We usually have a guys trip. We try to do it once a year when the pandemic hit. So obviously everything's been put on hold. But like those types of outings have been super helpful because it helps you kind of recenter with people that know you best.
Did, I know I've talked to you before, haven't
Oh, I don't think so. Where would you think we would have met?
I? The Achievements in Black Austin. Were you at the our first gala?
I was not. This will be my first time.
But you maybe you bought a book or something.
I
Maybe.
have bought a book. Okay, so here we go. I might get a connection here. Have you sold your books at Houston Tillman at the MLK Festival?
Yeah, yeah, we sold it. Gosh, it's been a few years, but yeah.
Yeah, because I went to that. So that must have been 2020, early
Yeah,
2020.
January. Yeah, because that was
Yeah, January.
MLK. MLK.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I bought the best like black lawyers, I mean black doctors book that you had, and I think another book that you were selling. So I remember that. And I think I bought a Black Lawyers Matter shirt in that same kind of event. So I
Okay.
remember buying those books. I still have the best Black Doctors of Austin book actually in my house.
You don't have the achievements, the actual book that has everybody like doctors, lawyers, everybody.
I might have that book
Well, if
as
not, you'll
well.
get them at the gala. So
Yeah,
you
I
have
might have
tons.
that book. I just remember the Black Doctor's book, but yeah, I might have both that I have
Yeah.
in my house. But I remember buying those books at that Houston Tillman MLK.
Yeah, that's what I was like, I know I've seen your face before, that I've talked to you. Of course, I probably didn't know what DLA Piper was at the time. Um, I think you've already answered that one. Okay, so here's one. What's an unusual habit or an absurd thing that you love? And just forget that you're a lawyer and just go ahead and answer this one.
An unusual habit. I love reality TV, so I don't know if that's unusual, but Real Housewives of Potomac. I started out as the Real Housewives of Atlanta fan. So my wife always gets on me. She was like, no one would ever know that you love this type of TV, but it's great. Like I enjoy it. First of all, I love Black people. So you put Black people on reality TV, I'm gonna try to check it out for a second. And then it's just TV that you don't have to pay close attention to, right? Like I can have it on and I'm doing something else. I'm helping at the house. I am maybe even kind of doing like some bills for my job and admin work. And I can have it on and you can have semi-focus, but you can still not lose track of anything, right? So reality TV, especially Black people on reality TV, that's something.
Did you tell me about life lessons yet?
Yes.
Okay. What's your superpower?
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh, I saw it coming and you stopped. Come on, get that lawyer brain to stop. I know it. I can see it. Stop processing and tell me.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. What is a good superpower to have?
What do you think you're good at? What's like you think that you're good at that nobody else, or not that nobody else, but that really makes you who you are?
I think I'm good at bringing people together and also kind of being able to help people in the room that aren't getting enough attention, helping them bring them into a conversation or a situation. So I think, I've been in a lot of different environments where it felt like the minorities, women, their needs and attention weren't especially being attended to. So I don't know, maybe my superpower I would say is being able to kind of get into a place and recognize who's getting pushed to the side when it comes to certain conversations.
What did I ask you? Yeah, I think you did. You tell me this? Yeah, I think you did already. Um, how are you using your platform and your power?
I'm using it to try to make some meaningful changes, especially at my firm. So I am the chair of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee at DLA Piper Austin. So we've been working on different actual items and inclusive items there. I am chair of the Culture Committee, which is separate than the DNI, which is trying to see how we kind of create a better culture in our office. And I'm also engaged on a national level with all our diversity efforts. I've done interviews at HBCUs, trying to look for associates and just trying to bring awareness to the fact that there's talent in a lot of different places that DLA hasn't historically kind of looked for talent. So using my platform in that way, trying to make sure that, we have used our resources to be able to attract kind of minority talent in a way that we haven't historically, and also trying to get DLA's name kind of in these different environments that it hasn't historically been in. For example, attending this gala, we got a table here, and that's because I'm saying, hey, we should get a table here, and was able to kind of get that. So trying to help us kind of like push into some spaces that we haven't normally been in, and trying to make it so DLA is a place that's attractive to different people.
Yeah, I saw that. That's good. That was good. What do you see as your place or your purpose in life?
My purpose, and it's funny you ask this because I definitely have thought about this recently. I think for me, my place is to open the door for people to be able to come behind and accomplish bigger things. Right. Like I always, the saying of we stand on the shoulders of giants is something that I don't take lightly. And I think my job is to all the sacrifices that people have made so I can accomplish this. What I've accomplished is just so I can then set the stage for the next generation to accomplish even bigger and better things. So my purpose is about setting up this platform, setting up whatever spaces I'm in to be more accommodating for the next group, right? And it's funny how I'm already feeling like I'm at the stage where I'm going to be the old guy in the room, waiting for the young talent to kind of do something amazing, right? So just making sure that I'm doing the best I can to kind of clear the path so they have more runway to kind of like really take off and do some much more amazing things.
Yeah, I was in the military, and I remember I was in like a medical facility for something, and I, I was always the youngest person in the room, and I was in this place, and this kid, I was like, how I think I asked him how old he was, or something, and he goes, "Oh, I'm 18." And I was like, "Oh shit." And I just celebrated my 18th year in the military. And that was when I was like, "Oh, I am old. This kid is 18 and I've been in the military longer than he's been alive." I mean, that's just like that realization is like me, like I'm the tenderoni in the room, not
I know,
anymore.
not anymore. I know, right? Because now we have like first year associates. They go straight through college and straight through law school. That person can easily have been my kid if I had a kid of like whatever 25, right? Like so now it's like it's not even like, oh, like you're the older uncle. Like, nah, you legit could be that person's father. So it's like you're getting to be that person
Yes,
now.
it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like, and I'm like, what, you wake up one day and you're like, really? I mean, I have a 14-year-old, and, he thinks I'm ancient. We're at this restaurant once, and this guy was with like his elderly father. Like literally the guy was probably 90s, 100, like trying to help him up. And Austin he looks at me, he goes, "Mom, that's going to be me and you in a few years." Boy,
You're like a few.
What do you think I am? Good Lord. Yes, man. Oh my
That's
God.
hilarious. Like a few years. They're like, really? A
I'm
few?
thinking, dude, I'm not even older than his son. Like, man, yeah, man. It's life. And then that's when you have to just start feeling grateful for what you've accomplished and what you've done and your place in the world. You just have to say, okay, God, I thank you for the years you've given me. And I hope that I've done you proud.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel that same way, which is that's what we need to be kind of focused on, and just setting things up for that next group so they
Yeah.
can be amazing.
So,
Hold on for 1
of
second.
course, of course.
All right, I'm
Awesome,
back.
awesome, awesome. Well, I was gonna ask you this question, but I was afraid that was that your wife?
Yeah.
Okay, I was afraid that you'd be like, oh. So the question is, who's your favorite person?
um, Favorite person has to be my mom. Like that's hands down. So, my mom and my dad got divorced when I was probably like 10 or 11, somewhere around there. And, I live with her and I also live with my dad. So, obviously love both parents, but my mom has been instrumental in every accomplishment that I've had. Like she was a nurse. She kind of worked her fingers to the bone, long shifts, hard, work that she does. And basically kind of paid for my college, supported me through that, supported me through everything, and always has been kind of the person that no matter what decisions I make, she's supportive of those, right? Like things that make her nervous, things that she wouldn't necessarily do, but no matter what, she's always in my corner and absolutely by far my favorite person. Then my and then now growing close in that battle obviously is my two daughters, right? Because they are amazing little girls and watching them grow and accomplish different things is kind of what inspires me to kind of work hard and keep going because I want to have them to have all the opportunities in the world to kind of chase whatever they want to do. So
That's why it's a hard question because most people say their moms. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait until she leaves.
she wouldn't be surprised with that answer.
Yeah, and I'm sure most of them, most of the guys are. What are you most proud of? And you probably have already said it.
I'm most proud of, I think, just being a lawyer and being that in my family. I think I'm most proud of. Right there, there are different accomplishments up the chain after that, but I think kind of just breaking through that. I'm the first lawyer in my family, and I don't think anyone in our family really thought anybody would be a lawyer. So to be able to kind of like break that seal and then knowing that cousins and nephews and nieces and all that was like, oh, well, you got a lawyer in the family. Like, why can't I be a lawyer? Right. Or it's whatever else now kind of grows into their imagination. So I think that probably like when I got admitted to the bar and my mom was there and she kind of I got admitted in Massachusetts and she came up with me and she helped with the swearing in and just having her be there for that. I think that was a really kind of defining moment and like saying like, hey, like I did it, like we did it together. So I think that would be the moment.
Describe your experience of being a black man in a black male lawyer.
It's been, it's been difficult and rewarding, right? So there definitely been times where people mistake you for the mailroom person and things like that. And obviously that's hard. And there are times where you do feel that your work has been judged a little bit more harshly than your colleagues. So that's been difficult. And there are also times where you don't feel you're getting the kind of assignments or quality work that you should have been getting assigned or getting the same opportunities that other people have been getting. So being able to mentally compartmentalize that it's not you all the time, right? Like knowing, trying to like parse like when it's you that needs to do better at something and when something else is happening in your environment that needs to get addressed and being a constantly trying to navigate between hey, is this bias or is this me all the time, ends up being really kind of weighing on you as a person trying to continue to accomplish things. So I think that's been really hard. The part that's rewarding is being able to have a client say, like, man, Kevin, that was great. Like, I couldn't have got through this without you. I'm so happy you're on our team. And it's been great working with you. And to have people actually really respect kind of your legal skills and your acumen, it's been great. When I left my prior firm, McKinney DLA Piper, I had two clients that came with me. They said, like, oh, if you're going, we're going, right? Like, and to be able to be at a place where people are bought into you and saying, like, no, I think that we want to stay with you no matter where you are, because you are a lawyer, kind of shows that, hey, I have gotten to a place where people really trust what I do and my advice. But the hard part has been the constant navigation of, is this something in my environment that's treating me unfairly, or is this something that I am not doing that I need to do better? And always trying to balance that between those two things. And the best way I've done that is to talk to other people on the path, right? Other Black lawyers that are going through it at their big firms and what they've done and how that's happened. I'm in a text group now with like these other Black partners at big firms, because so we can be like, hey, this is happening. What's going on in your place? Like, what's happening with that? So that type of navigation ends up being the most difficult part of this like big law career trajectory.
Do you know Bill Jones and Demetrius McDaniel?
I do not.
Demetrius is he does a lot with what do you call it, lobbying and stuff, but he knows everybody. I'll definitely have to make an introduction because he'd be a great person to to talk to. I mean, mentor. I mean, he's straightforward, holds no punches, but he's seen it all. He's got connections on both sides. Of course, in Texas, most people are Republican. So he walks that line, and but he's very respected in all circles, and I think it would be valuable for you to really talk with him, and he's always been, there are people that I know he mentors, other lawyers.
No, absolutely. I'd love to meet him. Like I told my wife the unfortunate part about our move is the pandemic happened so soon. We moved here in August 2019,
Mm,
and 6 months later, pandemic shut the world down. So we only really had
yeah,
6 months to kind of like engage in anything in Austin. Like, my wife's from San Antonio. As background, she's from San Antonio. So her sister lives in Austin, her parents and a lot of family live in San Antonio. She has family in Dallas, Houston, Austin. So she has family here. So we've been able to engage with family. But as far as anything else, you can't really do anything in the pandemic. So we haven't had a chance to really build out like a professional network, I would say, just because of how things have gone. But I would definitely want to meet him and other folks in town.
oh yeah, yeah. I'll like I said, and he's I think he's from there's like a whole group of them, that are like doctors and lawyers that I think they come from Houston. I think he's from Houston, and they're it's amazing. It's amazing, the group. It's like sometimes like the people that I feature don't go to the events, a lot of the events, in our community, but they go to things together, right? And that's the kind of piece, that's the kind of thing that I'm wanting you to be involved in, because I think that's really valuable for you as a lawyer, and just as a Black man, in navigating this space, because they can tell you the good, bad, and the ugly, and let me tell you, they are kicking ass in this state. So
No,
so
and definitely because I remember when I was moving here, I knew a black, I shouldn't say knew, I know a Black lawyer in Austin. And I was like, yeah, when we moving to Austin. And she was like,
don't
what?
do
She was
it.
like, ain't no Black lawyers in Austin. Barely any Black people in Austin. I was just like, oh, here we go, right? like here we go. So I'd be definitely happy to plug into the Black network here, because it would be nice to have that community.
Well, you like Real Housewives of Atlanta. So if you go to Facebook, and I don't know if you're on social media, but we have a group called Black Austin. and it's
I
about
am on. I'm on Facebook. So yeah.
there. It's called Black Austin, and there's about 20,000 African Americans, and I can assure you that some days it's like, what do you call that? Um, the like cat fights, the most ghetto of the most ghetto. And then some days it's so high, it's just amazing. So yeah, so if you really want to know what's going on in Austin,
I do.
oh Lord, good, bad, and ugly now, good, bad, and ugly. And let me and you know our people. So I'm just warning you, so you seem like you have an appetite for it, but at least we're all
No,
the
I like it. I mean, let's keep it real. Like
it,
the worst fights are within family.
yeah,
So
yeah. So all right, got a few more questions and we'll be done.
okay.
Um, best place you've ever lived?
Best place ever. Still New York City. I love New York. New York City is great. I love the energy. I love the vibe. Just New York are just too expensive to like raise a family, right? So that's was like the key factor. But New York City is still my favorite place.
Do you have a favorite book or book you recommend?
Um, there's a book called I don't remember the author anymore, and I hadn't read in a while, but it's called "Talent is Overrated," and it's a book about kind of the hours and the work that needs to get put in to accomplish kind of like different people have used to kind of accomplish like big things, and it just talks about people always kind of focus like, oh, that person's talented, but not really kind of focused on kind of the efforts and the hours that kind of went into being able to accomplish certain things. So I forgot the name of the author, but it's called Talent is Overrated.
What do you enjoy doing in your leisure time?
Well, we've already explored my Real Housewives and reality TV. I would say I love going out with my daughters and having them kind of try new things. So my daughter has tried rock climbing. She has tried riding trails on her bike, her Trek bike that we had just got her because she has a biking class she's in at her school. Um, and sports. So I love college football. I love college basketball. So being able to watch that with family. We're actually having a watch party with some family tonight. When I went to UNC. A lot of the family went to Notre Dame. UNC plays Notre Dame tonight. So we're doing like a house divided type of situation. So college sports is a big thing that I like to participate in.
Oh, that's gonna be good. Um, so this is the last question. Well, there's one question you didn't answer, but if you've got an answer for it, what purchase of $100 or less that has positively impacted your life? What was something you bought for your girls? I mean, they're always looking for something small.
Mm. Oh, this question is really kind of stumping me. So part of it is I feel like the stuff I buy for under $100 is just like random, like everyday stuff. And
Mhm.
then the other stuff my wife usually buys for all the girls. So it's like,
Something that makes you smile.
here's something that makes me smile. I bought a Black Lives Matters face mask that I'll wear around. And I strategically do it just so some places where I know some people might not like that I'm wearing a Black Lives Matter face mask. And that was under $100. And that does make me smile.
I know I have one that says, if you're reading this, you're too close. I know. I try not to wear it in restaurants because the wait staff might not like it too much. What does it mean to be chosen as one of our top 10 lawyers for 2021?
Definitely humbled by the selection. You know, like I mentioned, I haven't really had a chance to interact materially with the community. So to be recognized as that really was taken aback and kind of humbled to be kind of put in the class. But I looked at the other people that were selected and I was like, man, these people are some real amazing heavyweights here. So to be kind of included in those folks who I think have a lot more history with the city has really been kind of a humbling experience to be included in that crowd. So just kind of honored and hoping that I can contribute in a way that helps make it better for other people, but just humbled by the selection and the group to be included with them.
Yeah, I can tell you when names come across, we always we background check and make sure, everything's legit, that the person is deserving of the award. And I will tell you the one thing that people kept saying about what you're doing is, again, that your position and the company that you're in, and the fact, because we not only want to recognize you, but we also recognize the company, right? The fact that they saw the importance of someone who has value, who just happened to be Black. Our folks just happen to be Black. This is just how we show up in the world. But the impact that you're going to have in the community and really across the world, because DLA Piper is pretty big. So your impact is tremendous, and I think that's, at least that's what I saw when I saw your name and I saw some of the things that were said. It's the impact that people see you already making and know that you're going to make, and this also puts you in the spotlight to make sure you do those things,
To
right?
actually do it, right?
you know so yeah, well, thank you again for this time. I got another interview, but that was my last question. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Nope, that's it. Thank you for taking the time. Like I said, now that we have this whole email situation cleared up, I'll be able to be more responsive when it's time for other things. But no, thanks a lot for taking the time, and I look forward to meeting you in person
Yeah.
again on
Yeah.
Gallery.
I know, right? All right, well, take care, and I will see you guys, and try not to, well, I'm not a Notre Dame fan, or I'm an Auburn fan, so
Oh yeah, Auburn Tiger. All right.
yeah. But I wish you guys luck today.
All right.
All right, you take care. Enjoy.
Thanks. All
Okay,
right.
bye-bye.
Bye.